Get ready, cause it's about time.
I don't want to see myself.
For you to speak your mind.
I like it. I like seeing myself. That's the only way I take pictures. Otherwise, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Girls Club.
You take little videos?
No, I take
Super
pictures
Secret
with
Girls
myself.
Club.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Wednesday's Super Secret Girls Club. My name is Navi.
My name is Marketa.
And we are here. We are back. And sorry that we weren't live last week. We had some technical difficulties, but we did still film it. We posted it on our podcast channel.
Yes. And as well in all the audio channels that you are used to get our podcast from.
Yes. So if you don't follow our Normies podcast channel, it's literally called Normies Podcast. We put up Talking Normies as well, our own podcast. A little bit edited right after once it's done. So that's the best way to watch it. But yeah, hello everyone.
Yeah.
So excited to be here. We are trying, well, we are not trying new setup. You guys don't know shit. We're doing like a background new setup, so it's working. So we're excited for that.
Yes.
But
We're using a different computer.
Hopefully it'll be better with the internet. We're not using a laptop. Things hopefully are better. It's just causing more work for Spencer, but he hasn't complained about it yet, so we'll see how long we can go. But yeah, Ketty, how's your week been? How's your weekend been? Was anything crazy happen? We didn't spend this weekend together. No, we did. We had brunch together.
Yeah. You know, this weekend was one of those where I got really busy with fun stuff.
Okay, good.
But I really needed to do some things. So I was just
expected.
I was at these different food festivals and events, local little markets.
Oh yeah.
I was just kind of hopping around, but in my head I'm just I should be doing other things. So
yeah, that's always the thing. But were you able to do that after brunch on Sunday?
No.
Oh no.
Because after brunch we went to the Saraga.
Oh yeah, Saraga.
There is this huge new international store that just opened, and they had a festival, also food festival. So we went there right after brunch.
We were stuffed.
Because we are unhinged.
We were uncomfortably full at brunch. It was just a girls' brunch.
Yeah.
And then we're like, let's go to a food festival.
Yeah, why not? So we did, and it was my first time actually at Saraga.
How was it?
It was a little overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. You need hours.
And I understand why it's good, why that store is great, because of all the supplies you can get, and also you can get a ton of rice, a ton packet of rice.
What do you mean? You don't buy that? That's only pack I buy. I buy this huge bag of rice that I go through a couple of months.
Yeah, and I think that's really good price there. Yeah. But I thought that everything else, produce and stuff, was kind of more expensive than I expected.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of the stuff were prices that I see everywhere else, even in fancy stores like Fresh Market or Whole Foods. I got this bag of tomatoes for $3.
Yeah.
But there were 4 tomatoes in it. And I'm am I literally paying fucking almost $1 for tomato?
But I feel interesting. I don't pay attention that closely, but I remember last time I went to Saraga International, there is so much more fruit and vegetables than I will see. I shop in Meijer. Mm-hmm. So compared to your Meijer, there's a lot of options. And even at Meijer, I will buy those tomatoes on Vine for $2.99 for almost $3. So I think it's close to what Saraga is. But if I'm going to Saraga, I'm usually going for other stuff. But I will get that one specifically. It's new, and they do a really good job of displaying their veggies and fruits. They don't look bad. They actually look nice. Do they last long? I don't know. Compared to Whole Foods, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is overwhelming. I think there you need. It's so big. I don't know if you guys go to international store that's near you. We love international stores, and this one reopened. It's extremely big. There are 3 restaurants in it to sit down. They have seafood market, halal market, butcher market. It's huge. Fish market. I need full on an hour, if not more, to go through it.
I do like how it's organized by aisle, by region. Beautiful. So that was very convenient for me because I was getting a little frustrated because there was so many things I didn't even know what that is or what to do with it, you know?
Yes.
And I was kind of getting like
Overwhelmed.
frustrated. And then I saw that the aisles are kind of like regional. So it's like, let's just go to the European aisle where I know what's happening.
And go from there.
So I went there and I got a bunch of stuff and I got like more excited because I was like, oh, I'm getting all these things from home. So that was better.
That's
and
good.
then I ventured back out into like, I went back to like the fish market because I was trying to get fish.
Yeah.
But there was just so many options that I was just like, what the fuck are these? Like,
There's so many options.
Yeah. And I was just like, I kind of want to buy something I haven't bought before because they have options.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was getting so overwhelmed. I was like, I should just get salmon. I was like, I'm not going to get salmon. I'm not this basic. I need to get something. So I was just like having an internal monologue with me. Anxiety. Welcome to the world of anxiety.
That's funny. So I took Sergey there. We walked around and he was like, oh, I usually he loves like walking through. And then he found all the Russian dumplings.
Yeah.
I was like, they don't have them in the other Srag. I was like, now you have a reason to come here. And he was just like, oh my God, they have these options. Like, because it's so big, I think he was like, does the other one have it too? He was like, I don't know if the other one has it too or not, but like, because they're so big that it might have it. So we get really excited about international food. Just there was like Savili restaurant. I'm so sad that
I didn't know that they had like even inside. There's like a coffee shop and a bakery.
That bakery is beautiful. Yeah, I love that bakery, and they have a Korean hot dog.
Yeah,
I love Korean hot dogs. It's amazing. But yeah, that was like weekend was great. We had a weekend brunch. The girls got together, which prompted Chris to like start a guys brunch because they've been trying to do and the guys just can't do brunch anymore. So they're thinking of doing a strip club that has brunch. We'll see if that exists. But we don't invite guys to our brunch because most of the time we will end up cooking and then guys are the one who end up eating the most of it. That we won't get a lot of it. So we're like, we're just not gonna invite you guys.
That's the reason?
No, it's not. That's not the reason. We just don't invite them because it's like, I don't know. It's just
it's a nice time to like, you know, like I mean you always talk to girls like about different things than you talk to guys about, you know, like there's certain things I don't want to talk to guys about. Yeah. So it's good.
Makes sense. But I did feel like this brunch was too many girls because we didn't get to have like a proper sit down conversation like we had it last time. I think the conversation was happening, even though it was like 5 of us, the conversation was happening side. I was like, can we like just sit down and have one conversation? Yeah. Just one that we're all participating together. Like it's not that big of a group. That's why I'm not a big fan of like big groups. I usually like...
I agree.
Like 4 I think is a good size that you can have a conversation together. Yeah. Instead of like dividing up. Yeah. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I also really enjoy having like one-on-one conversation in a very like even like fucking outside in a park or just in a coffee shop, just 2 people or 3 people having a conversation. Yeah, right. Every time it's like 4+, I just want to like sink into my phone because it's like. People are having fun. It's fine. I can just do other things.
Yeah, and then sometimes you end up having the same conversation with multiple people that you could have had it together one time. I hate that. I was like, can I? Like somebody will ask me, was like, should we just wait for everybody before I say that? And then I'm like, okay, I will just tell her. It was like, now I'm telling this 3 times because we didn't want to have a together group.
Yeah. But I would also say that we just talked about grocery stores for 15 minutes and one of our topics today was going to be midlife crisis. I think we are there. I think we've arrived. No. Should we talk about vacuums next?
Oh my God. I bought a new vacuum because I cannot deal with dog hair. So I bought a new vacuum. Yes. I am not in midlife. But me and Kenny had a huge, not an argument per se. We'll get to it. We'll have like a couple others. But no, the weekend was great. I had a lot of fun. I finally have a Nico back. So I decided to just have Nico and deal with 3 dogs. It's been fine. I would be so happy once I have 1 dog. I have realized I cannot have 2 dogs. Just no. I just can't. I just won't. Even I think the only time I will ever have a second dog is when Nico is literally wrinkled, old baby that she's like, she gets up and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna lay down right here. I was like, okay, then we can have a second dog, but I prefer not to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a lot of work,
it is a lot of work.
but you know, it's a good thing you're doing it.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that's leading me on. I'm like, you guys, I want to love you the same way, but I can't. I love Nico more.
I mean, but you also have to protect your feelings because they are not your dogs.
That's true.
So it would hurt that much more when, you know, you have to give them at some point,
They'll
whether
have to.
this month or next or in May or whenever they're back, you're going to have to separate with them.
And that's when I'm like, I don't want to spend too much time training them because I know it's going to go worse. But like, I try to, but sit is the only thing they can do so far.
Hey, that's progress.
That's progress, but that's only with food. But hot take, internet news.
Yes.
Do you have a hot take internet news for me?
Hot take internet news. Well, okay, so I did want to talk about Russell Brand.
Yeah, what do you think about
canceled,
that?
Which, well, I want to talk about that, like Russell Brand's case, but I also would like to talk about the cancel culture overall.
In general, yeah.
And before we start this conversation, I really want to like ask people in the chat. By the way, we are reading Twitch chat.
Yes.
We are live on YouTube as well. Still, I think.
I believe
We're only reading the Twitch chat. So if you are on YouTube, please come to the Twitch chat so we can read what you have to say. I would love to know which celebrity would absolutely break your heart and disappoint you on the highest level if you found out that they did some nasty things to women or men or just be nasty to other people. Let us know in the comments. We'll read your responses. But first, we're going to talk about Russell Brand.
Yeah. Were you surprised?
No. And I feel like everybody had the same reaction.
Yeah,
like I read about Russell Brand on like just like the
couple days ago,
headline.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is he what? Why is this news?
Yeah, I just assumed.
I just assumed that he's
just awful.
A filthy person.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm obviously every time I hear it, it's sad.
It's very sad.
It's really sad because obviously it's been going on for so long, and his victims probably didn't have the power to say anything about it. And what it sounds like, they did say it, or people in the community knew, nobody did anything. It was kind of like R. Kelly. Mm-hmm. People just knew R. Kelly was doing it, but nobody did anything. So it's like, can we please do something about it? So when it comes out, it's like, I assumed like this was happening, which is even sucks. Like we assumed it was happening and we weren't even part of it.
But how much do you know about specifically Russell Brand? Like his latest last 10 years of his life.
I know recently because I listened to him on Joe Rogan a couple times.
Oh.
So I know.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I think he's like not big on conspiracy, but he is on the side of it, and I think he was
very
really
big in the conspiracy theories.
and he was doing, but like every time he talks to Joe Rogan, he's not super into conspiracy, as in more so how differently he's living his life, like how he has changed living his life. So it's more so listening to him like, this is what are you doing? Like he's not necessarily saying like everybody should do that. He's like, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I've been living my life this way. It's like, okay, that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're not telling me to do anything, they'll be fine.
Yeah. To me, so I knew about Russell Brand's like True News channel.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
When I was like heavily susceptible to that stuff in my like early 20s, and I was just like, yeah, you know, subconscious. and I thought that there was like he was like onto something, you know, and I was just like, you know what, this is interesting. I was like super into philosophy, and so like listening to like these alternative opinions was interesting to me. I wasn't like buying all of it, but I was like, okay, you know, this is different. It's not
a view.
It's different from the mainstream view, and I just like, I like to expose myself to all these different views to kind of like figure it out for myself. Mm-hmm. So I like listened to a bunch of the True News, and then I was just like, this guy is just full of shit, and I just kind of stopped listening. It wasn't anything particular. It was just like the vibe, or maybe I grew out of his demographic.
Makes sense.
So I was just like, fuck this guy. But he's part of my favorite movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
And no, I kind of always thought of him as a creep. Mm-hmm. But now that it's confirmed, I am just so upset that like he is part of my favorite movie.
Oh,
and it's just
makes sense.
I'm still gonna watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I love that movie.
Yeah.
But it's just gonna be a slightly different experience knowing that now.
Yeah.
Having a confirmation.
Yeah, it's weird because like I used to listen to his comedy shows when first he was like becoming big because my friend introduced him to me. It's like many years ago in college. It's like, oh yeah, he's cool. Like love UK accent and all that stuff. Everything was like following him with Katy Perry. But yeah, I think he released a book one time too, and I think I remember reading some of it. It's like, okay, I can see this. I'm big into philosophy too, so it was more so like, this is another view.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like this is a one way to look at it. Like may not be the way I look at it, but it's another way to look at it. But it is sad. I think I was, when I first came out, I was like, okay, he's a creep. I guess he did do actually things. But once he released his apology and Elon Musk and Andrew Tate, where I was like, okay, I don't need any evidence. I think you fucked up. Like you actually did this thing. Like at that point, I was like, I'm still gonna wait for the law to take effect, and then like as soon as
not
like,
when you get endorsed by Andrew Tate.
yeah, I was like, I don't need the law to tell me anything. I think the public opinion is fair at this point. It just sucks. What if he actually didn't do anything?
And they just kind of
like it
leached
would be
onto
awful because like
I
just,
honestly
like,
I don't know. I mean, this is completely unsubstantiated, but I do get weird vibes off of him.
oh yeah,
Like I don't think
I
I would want to be with him in a room alone.
No, there was some clips that got released where he was like, I know he was trying to be funny, but the way it was coming off was like creepy. And I think at that point, like all the ladies were like being interviewed or whatever. Like he did weird things and they would like kind of laugh it off. But I can see that being uncomfortable, but you can't really say anything because you're on the camera. And he's just doing it. So
we got some responses to the question, which celebrity, if you found out they did something nasty, would just gut you? We have one response from Casanova Frankenstein, Chris Evans. Yes, that would be very, very sad.
that would be sad. Same with Hemsworth.
And yes, any of the
Hemsworth.
Hemsworths. Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
I would die. He's like the American daddy.
He is. I'll be so sad. I cannot.
Yes. And Norman Reed's last response here from Chase Sure. First time chat, by the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Norman
I love
Reedus.
Norman Reedus. Yeah. I feel like he's like a very wholesome person.
It will suck if it come out that he done something fuckery around.
I know.
Like, it will be awful.
I think that the most surprising, if like, we ever found out that he did something wrong, that would absolutely destroy my faith in humanity overall, would be Keanu Reeves. If we ever found out that or Pedro Pascal. If Pedro Pascal or Keanu Reeves we ever find out that they touched anyone inappropriately,
I'm done with this job.
I'm done with the world. I'm entering celibacy. I'm going to live in Italy off of grapevines, and I'm gonna die there.
Yeah, same with Henry Cavill. Pedro and
Henry Cavill too.
Cavill.
Yes.
It's awful. NNC one, I think, made a great comment. Like, don't really care about allegation until it gets proven in court. It can be really dangerous to just accept anything we hear in the news. For sure. I think it's so true that the public court, public opinion judges it so quickly before anything gets proven in the court. And it might get proven in court, but it takes years for it to happen.
Yeah. Yes. So I did want to bring something else, actually, because this is, I think, relevant to the cancel culture, kind of writing people off immediately with no. So I think overall in this area, not this specifically, not when it comes to sexual assault, but let's talk about. God damn it.
Dave Chappelle.
No. Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore tried to bring back her talk show, And it was
Mischief.
all of it happened last week. She on Monday announced that she'd be back. There was a whole lot of backlash from the unions because we're still striking. And on Friday, she kind of tried to retract. She kind of tried to stand her ground. She was like, I listened to you guys, but like I'm doing this, like this to me seems ethical. I'm gonna move forward. And then more backlash. And then I think Sunday was like, okay,
Just not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like I heard all sides. I understand that it was premature, so I'm not gonna do it. And we're just gonna keep along with the strike.
Yeah.
Which I think to me, okay,
She
you
listened.
tried to do something. You found out. You fucked around. You found out.
You fucked around and found out.
And now you've learned your lesson. And I think at this point, all of us should be able to move on.
Yeah.
But there is, like, even the response to her deciding eventually to do the right thing was still kind of tainted with her, like, the first decision she made.
Yeah.
Which was to come back with the show. And I thought it was... I don't like when people continue to get judged for a mistake that they've already corrected their course.
Yeah.
They apologized. I mean, what they can't do is take it back.
Yeah.
They can't reverse time and like not do the thing that they did in the first place.
Yeah.
So first of all, I mean, I have a controversial opinion on cancel culture. I don't think it actually exists. I cringe every time I have to use the term.
It's awful.
But
I agree with you. Yeah.
But just for the sake of argument, I'm just gonna stick saying cancel culture. I think that's like very toxic if we don't let people move on from a mistake. Like there's a
Mend
lot
their
of people
mistakes.
that maybe like when they were fucking teenagers said the N-word.
Yeah.
Like because you're stupid.
Yeah.
And you literally are a whole different person. I don't remember who it was.
You could be peer pressured by
Yeah.
your friends. Like,
Yeah.
I remember Chris almost peer pressured me on a camera to say N-word. It was like, no, I'm not going to. He was like, say it. And then Sturge was like, say it. It's like,
Oh
I'm
my
not
god!
saying it.
Why are they like this?
Like, but what if I don't remember if I said it or not. It was like many years ago at Depot. It's like, anybody could clip this and just put it out without context that I'm being peer pressured by my peers sitting next to me to say it.
Yeah, I don't like when nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And like I think especially things that happen like to you when you're a teenager, you shouldn't really be judged for that in your adult life. Like a lot of girls will get nudes leaked unconsensually as teenagers. And then in their adult life, if that ever like is resurfaced or it's like fucking trending or something,
Yeah.
like you can't get jobs. That's ridiculous.
They can never hold a political office because
Yeah.
that can come back to bite them. I totally agree with it. Like cancel culture, I don't think it's controversial. It just doesn't exist. It's just a word
does
that
not
people
exist.
throw away.
Thank you.
Yeah, we should be able to, like people should be able to mend their mistakes and learn from it. Like if it's something that they did new, like like Drew Barrymore, like she did it and she listened, and like second time she was like, oh, I'm gonna, but third time she was like, okay, I'm listening, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like you got what you wanted, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody who's being uproar, like you didn't want her to do it, she listened, she tried, she won't do it. Can we just like kind of praise it? Not even praise it, we're like, okay, yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
that you listened. We're gonna move on to another topic. Like we're
Yeah.
gonna move on to something else.
Yeah.
I listened to that Philly D as well, and I think he made a good point. It's like, what could more she do at this point?
Yeah, and I think that was a fair question. And like anybody who is always like on that high horse,
Yeah.
I would love to know what they think is actually appropriate thing to do at this point.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we can't turn back time. We can't reverse the clock. We are here.
Yeah. Yeah.
She did. She took it back. She apologized. She's not. What's it called? Picketing or I forgot the word, but she's not like going against unions.
Yeah.
So
it makes
what are we talking about?
exactly.
We're good. Everything's good.
Everything is good. I think that goes same with like with the sexual assault thing. I think like news comes out. Okay, we should wait to see what actually happens more with it before we start like canceling things, because a lot of time, like with Aziz Ansari, I think, and I still don't know. I think he was falsely accused, but I still don't know what really happened to it, because that whole uproar happened and then the news kind of got swept away. It's like, did we ever figure it out?
I actually, that case, I actually followed closely. I don't even know why.
Yeah, because you were curious, like, did he actually do it or not?
Yeah, I was just like, there's no way. Well, I mean, you never know.
Never know.
But I read the entire, like, the girl, I think herself, wrote, like, a big article in the news.
Yeah.
And her point of the story kind of was, to me, like, they ended up like and also this is like several years ago, so I'm barely remembering.
Yeah.
But they ended up at his place,
and he tried to do a few things.
He tried to like, get intimate, and she was like, no. And then she left.
And yeah, he called the cab and she took the cab and went home.
Yeah. And then wrote like a piece about him being a sexual predator.
Yeah.
Which to me, I was just like, no, this seems like a date went wrong, and he had
different attention.
Maybe like misread the body language or something. But like, he didn't pursue you once you said that you like audibly, no, I'm not interested, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
He literally called a taxi cab for you to go home. So I personally didn't feel like he did anything wrong. And despite that, this man in his next stand-up had like a 20-minute speech about this, including like an actual heartfelt apology.
Aww.
And like understanding that even though this like, he wasn't like shitty about it, even though like it tainted his like reputation.
It did, because I think he was kicked off on a couple of opportunities as well.
He was.
Yeah.
But he still was just kind of like, this is a problem in our industry, and like, I'm trying to be better. I don't want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like getting ahead of it was really, to me, like that showed that he's like a really good person. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think that kind of, I can also see when some guys are like worried when it comes to that, because like he did right? Like she said no, he listened, and he was like, okay, we're gonna stop from there. And I've been in a situation where like, like people try to make a move and we're like, you say no, and then like something else happened because like maybe things will change, and you say no, and then like, okay, then that's that. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that unless you don't listen to no and you continue. Or you put in a position to somebody who can't say no and you continue.
Yeah.
But a lot of times like guys was like, oh, I'm like afraid that somebody will say something. Like I get it, because a lot of times the woman's word is taken the first.
Yeah.
And it sucks when somebody falsely claims something, then it puts the whole everybody in a bad light, right? Like there's bad apples both sides. And I think you just have to be, I don't know if you're a celebrity, like have a paperwork beforehand, have like things signed.
Well, if I remember correctly,
like Dave Chappelle style, like NDA.
If I remember correctly, that was like also during like the height of the Me Too movement, when the Aziz Ansari stuff came out.
Oh yeah, it was.
And actually, I remember the reason why I was like really following that case is because I was actually really upset with her. Yeah. Because I felt like it was hurting our cause.
It was hurting the movement.
Because of the women who actually have been sexually assaulted and like not listen to, no means no. Yeah. That was clearly observed in this situation. It was just an awkward date.
It was
that
awkward
went
date.
wrong. Yeah. But not into the sexual assault territory. No. At all. And that's why I was upset, because like that, it felt to me like the girl was really trying to like be the victim in a situation, and she was. I mean, it was probably not a very pleasant experience, but it was not a sexual assault. And she definitely jumped several different fucking loops in her brain to get there.
Seriously. No, seriously. I have another internet news. So you may not know about this.
Why is it always my microphone? Do you have anything else to say about this?
But the Russell Brand and all that?
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
I think we'll just have to watch and see. He looks like a creep, so I'm not surprised, but we'll see how that goes. If anything comes from it.
I want to talk about another disappointing news.
Oh, go for it.
We all reacted to Euphoria.
Yes.
We loved the show.
Love it.
We especially loved the show because of its aesthetics. Because of the way literally it looks and the acting and everything.
And Zendaya. We love because
the
of
story
Zendaya.
itself is also amazing, but I feel like what made the show stand out is the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Because it just
Sound,
looks vastly
everything.
different from anything that was ever on
Absolutely.
TV before. Turns out, Sam Levinson did not invent this aesthetic, and in fact stole this complete, just artistic vision from Petra Collins, who was initially hired to direct.
To do Euphoria?
But she was 20 years old at the time. And then after she did like most of the work, like pre-production work, they told her that they can't possibly hire a 20-year-old to direct a show this big. So they after hired Sam Levinson, and he just kind of completely hijacked all of her work and ran with it. And she recently came out with the fact that, when she thought that, okay, I guess they didn't like what I was doing, so they're gonna move in a different direction. And then when she started seeing like the promotional posters for Euphoria and saw that it's literally her portfolio being just used and taken out, she like could not believe that, because she was just like, this keeps happening to me as like a small artist, this kept happening to me, like people would steal my art, or they would just steal kind of the concept and like recreate it, and it's just like, this kept happening to me, like I was used to it, but when it happened on such a large scale from such a big company, having like no backbone and just being so unethical, it just kind of like absolutely broke her. I have no idea, and I guess that happened.
So it sounds like the mic is doing it again. So Spencer's gonna test that out, but I think my mic still might be working. I think it's just so the mic's gonna be switched, but
The whole thing. So it's just sad to hear that, considering that Sam Levinson got such a high praise, that because he's the one who did all that. I think that's why Idol was such a big approach. Like, oh, it's Sam Levinson, right? Like, he did Euphoria, so obviously Idol's gonna be great. And obviously Idol shit the bed, like, because
Now we know what happened.
Because he wasn't the one who did all that. So it's so sad. So are they, like, so what's gonna happen? Are they gonna bring her back to something, or are they gonna give her credit? Because that's a whole reason why that whole show did an amazing as they did. No wonder there's shitting happening like with the season 3.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why season 3 is not happening. First, Zendaya is really busy with the Dune and other multiple projects. Sam Levinson obviously is probably dealing with that too. But then we also have the writer's strike. I think Sydney Sweeney was also really busy. And then there was also like a lot of internal drama within the team. Sydney Sweeney versus Maud Applegate. Maud Apatow. The one who was Lexi.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think they had like a falling out in their friendship.
And they were supposed to play sisters.
The girl, oh my god, she was my favorite character. She did like sex work.
Oh, the cat?
Kat.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gone.
Oh, but Cat was the best.
Because apparently she was just so awful to work with that they just wrote her out of the show.
I don't understand people who are like awful to work with. Like, don't you want more work?
Right? I don't know.
Like, who do you think you are, Brad Pitt?
This is what I'm like. I feel like Alison Brie and Alison Hannigan. I keep seeing them always doing something.
Yeah.
I'm like, and also April.
Ludgate.
Ludgate.
Yeah, not. I mean, that's not her name, but yeah, April Ludgate.
I was just like, what? Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. She is great.
I feel like they must be really good people to work with.
Yeah.
Because they keep getting hired for so many fun projects.
It makes sense. Like, I mean, why would you? I just don't understand. Like, you want more work, right? Don't you want to be somebody that's like easy to work with? Because word of mouth is gonna go around unless you're literally Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, like Angelina Jolie, that you can go off on your fame. Nobody should be showing. I mean, even they shouldn't be showing any kind of attitude, but like nobody should be showing attitude. Like, what are you doing? There's so many lives depend on your work while being on screen. So like, it's a village that makes it work.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
That's
Makes
why I thought it was super refreshing, I think, seeing the One Piece cast getting so, like, along with each other. Like, they seemed genuinely, like, they bonded over the first season and, like, really became friends.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to see, and I hope that stays with them.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
So sad. All right.
Yeah.
I have another news, but I think we should move on to our weekly topic because it's going to be a vent session. So might as well. You guys are all welcome to begin the vent session with me. And depending on how the time goes, I can go with another entertainment news that I have.
Okay.
But this is essentially about...
Is this the dog thing?
No, it's about midlife crisis.
Oh, your midlife crisis.
So it's about midlife crisis. Apparently... Me and Katie had this discussion a couple of weeks ago because she just turns around to me and she was like, me and Chris were just like had this discussion about a midlife crisis. And I look at her, I was like, how old are you? We are not in a midlife. Like, you only planning to live up to 60? Like,
70. First of all, I'm 34.
34, but like, I assume a midlife crisis is like 45 or 50. Like, I think it's too young to be having a midlife crisis. I'm curious on what your age thing. Like, my midlife is like literally when I've accomplished everything I want to. Then I'm like, what do I do with this life now? Like, I'm having a crisis. Not necessarily when you have to be before.
So the average life expectancy of an American woman is 77.
Okay, but you cannot be in a midlife crisis. You still need to have kids. Like, there's still steps as a life that you need to have before you can have a midlife crisis. Isn't that the whole point of that? Is like, you have done everything and then you're like, like empty nesters don't know what to do with a life anymore.
Is that midlife crisis?
I'm assuming that's what a midlife crisis is. Like, because
empty nesting? Because that's like, you at that point you're like 50.
Yeah. That's when you're supposed to have your midlife crisis. I don't know why it's called midlife. Again, it's like us being in Midwest. We are not mid or west.
Stuff like
you mean a quarter life?
I wish. I fucking wish.
It's a quarter life crisis. Exactly.
Paradox or
yeah. You also are kids is not necessary step. It's essentially my idea of midlife crisis. Like, you've done everything you want to do, right? Like, kids or may not be an option. Like, every step that you want to do, like, now you're like, I've done everything. I don't know what to do next. I'm married. I like have a career, whatever. Now I'm having a crisis because what do I do with the rest of the life that's remaining? That's my definition of midlife crisis. But yours is just like finding.
I'm going to also look up the definition of a midlife crisis.
You're having a midlife crisis over groceries, like
I am. That's real.
That's hilarious.
Midlife crisis. An emotional crisis of identity and self-confidence that can occur in early middle age.
What is a middle age?
Hold on, there's a whole map here. Are you going through a midlife crisis? Okay, let's do this.
Oh, there's a whole swim lane. Okay, there's a whole map.
Start here. Do you drive a Porsche? Okay, this is just jokes. Okay, I don't drive Porsche. I don't have that kind of money. Have you started obsessing over your hairline? This is for men.
Yeah, midlife crisis for women. Still one.
Okay. Some signs of midlife crisis: feeling apathetic, numb, and generally blah about things in life. Honestly, that checks out.
Fair.
Experiencing more jealousy and envy towards others. No, I don't think I have that. Pervasive feelings of unfulfillment and emptiness. I only have that in winter.
Makes sense. So only a winter life crisis.
Acting impulsively, buying new car or a house, making rash business decisions.
See, you don't make rash decisions.
What? Okay.
Go buy a Porsche and then we'll talk.
Nostalgia for the past and feeling trapped in your life.
Are you feeling trapped in your life?
I feel trapped in this country.
Well, but not in life in general. I mean, this country, she's not going anywhere. We're forcing her to be here. Watchdog. Some of my bucket list is travel, experience as much as the world as I can, ride an elephant, go skydiving, get into a bar fight, kick down a door like an action movie, etc.
I love that. I love that you have a bucket list. I actually have a bucket list too. Hold on.
Yeah.
I
See,
have it in my notes.
you need to. I don't know. I don't know if the midlife. I guess midlife crisis 44 to 65. See, middle age 44 to 65. You're nowhere there to be having a midlife crisis.
Okay, in 10 more years then.
Yeah, wait 10 more years and then you can have crisis.
I've always, been very mature.
Makes sense. Your brain is already there.
Maybe mentally I am 44,
Yeah.
even though I am 34.
She does not feel trapped in the normies. She just feels trapped in America. And we keep doing stuff that making her feel more trapped because she wants to leave to Europe. And I'm like, no, let's start a new location for Sana Social. So you never leave.
I want to, one of my bucket list is so weird. I have only a few things.
You
on
do have
there.
a bucket list?
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to take a picture with the quokka, which
What?
is an animal in Australia or New
Quokka?
Zealand. Quokka.
No idea what the hell that is.
It's like a smiling, it's like this little smiling little.
Oh
gerbil.
my god.
They are so
Coca.
cute.
They're so cute.
I know.
They're
love
cuter
them.
than capybara.
Look, it's smiling.
That's so cute.
But yeah, I want to
Coca.
take a picture with a quokka. I want to visit the wolf sanctuary, which I actually did.
Oh, nice.
With the normies.
Yes.
So I got one off. I want to see the northern lights,
Makes sense.
which is possible here. Maybe this winter I'll finally get to do that because we have access to that in Upper Michigan.
Start a trap house.
Start a trap house? Yes.
That's funny.
Well, I feel like I've been there already, so I'm good on that. I'm going to pass.
Yeah, you good on trap houses?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, not my house. Anyway, I can visit one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Just like go around like a neighborhood and either one of our neighborhoods, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we'll find one.
Yeah. And also visit Japan. And I'm hoping that will happen in 2025.
Do all kind of visitations on
Yeah.
travels. But yeah.
And also I want to visit any country in Africa. But like specifically in like Central Africa, like
Makes sense.
Congo or, Rwanda, a country like that.
That makes sense. I have to create a bucket list. I don't really have one. But walking away from explosion like a badass, that will be. I think if I ever have to do that, I'm like, I'm done with life. Like, I'm like walking away from this explosion. I don't even know how to explain this explosion. Senegal would be cool.
Senegal would be nice.
But yeah, now reading all those lists, do you think you're having a midlife crisis? I think you're just having an adult
now
crisis.
that I'm learning more about my life crisis, I hope I'll never have it because it feels like a weird concept to me right now. I don't know that I will ever feel like my life ended. Like I don't know what to do with it anymore. I'm actually very afraid of death.
Yeah, are you?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like I feel like I just want to like live, and experience things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's so much on Earth
Yeah.
that I haven't seen and I would love to see.
So much.
And so many things I haven't experienced that I want to experience. So much food I didn't eat that I want to eat.
Even in America, like there's so many
Yes.
places that we haven't been.
Exactly. And so I would love to, live as long as I can because I think there's always something fun and interesting to do. Is it accessible? That's the other question.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, once in a while, once in a year or
Yeah.
something like that. It's possible. I don't know. It was just weird when I heard her say that and it's like, wait a minute. Like, I don't even know where we had this conversation. Was it at Butter?
But being, yes.
It was at Butter. I was like,
I guess
What?
34 is like, that's a big number.
Yeah, but it's just a number, right?
I know.
Like, I think
know.
it's
So
just...
biologically speaking, I mean, if we do want kids with Chris, we have to do that. soon.
Yeah, that changes. Yeah, because I think it's like, what, 36? 35, 36?
I mean, even with my age, if I am pregnant now, it's going to be considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Is it really?
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
Because I'm an old lady.
Well, get on
Apparently.
it. Get on it. Yeah, it's, I guess those kind of conversation can put a life in a different perspective, but I think overall, overall, beside you being feeling trapped here, I don't think you're having a crisis. Okay. But again, I can't speak for you. Like somebody told me. We have a vent session and ranking session here. But it's just hilarious, like midlife crisis. Like, what are we? Midlife? I had to like rethink my whole life when she made that comment. I was like, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Midlife? How old am I? I was like, am I only living till 70? Like, what is happening? I was so shook. I was shook at.
But the other thing also I think is important is the quality of life.
That's very true.
Because it's because I'm reading this book right now called How Not to Die.
Yeah.
And it's about food and nutrition and how to avoid things that are just very, very slowly killing you.
Yeah.
Or that are over time going to make your quality of life so miserable that you will be dependent on medication, on like, I guess, a stroller, or just be completely immobile, or have Alzheimer's or heart disease because of the food you eat now.
That makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
I'm really trying to like be conscious of that because I do want to live as long as possible.
That's interesting.
And I want to be, and I also want to have like a good life when I'm like whatever 70, 80. I still want to be able, like, I know it's possible because I mean there's like people in Okinawa who are like 100 and they're picking up apples from trees
and they're fine,
and they're doing monthly like morning exercises and stuff, and I want to be mobile and capable and independent at that age because I'll be fucking retired.
Exactly.
And I want to live my life.
Yeah. I think that's what's the biggest thing. Like when I get old, I want to be able to walk around. Like going to Korea, like seeing old people just doing their daily life. And like, it's so cute. Like those are old men. They were all together. They were like on the train and then they got up. And I was like, this is adorable. You guys like going for your own activity, whatever that is. Yeah. Like I want to do that. Like I don't want to be doing like sitting on a chair. I'm not scared of death. I do want to live like, I mean, as healthy as I can. I don't care to live like past 100. If I'm like not walking, just, I don't know, kill me. Like I don't want to be reliant on anybody else. It's like just, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But
well, famous. I didn't need to hear it, but this was nice to hear.
Aww. There you go. See, this can help. This is a therapy session. There you go. I love this. We have a little bit of time. So there was somebody who was asking for advice during one of my chats, and I don't know, did you get any message from them? I'm assuming you didn't. I'm gonna wait. I will bring this
about
like advice. They said that they were going to ask. I don't see them, so I will wait to see if I get something next time, and I will bring it back. But I want to make sure they're able to hear it before I send it. But I do have another internet entertainment news that I wanted to discuss because it's kind of weird that so I'm following these two accounts. You wouldn't know this account unless you have dogs. There's one, Zach George. He is really big on YouTube. I started watching him when I first got Nico because he's really good in training. Like he trains dogs positively. And then recently, a year ago, I started following this account on Instagram called Dog Daddy. And Dog Daddy is essentially, he dressed up really nice and he's going around like helping people who have aggressive dogs. So I was just following them. It's like, it's whatever. Like I'm not necessarily following his techniques, but it's interesting to see like somebody working with dogs who are aggressive on euthanasia list to be able to help them and get reassimilated. Recently come to find out is that what Dog Daddy does that I never carefully looked, like he used prong collars, and I'm not against prong collars.
Okay, explain what that is.
Prong collar is a collar that has like it's a silver like claw kind of thing that goes around. I use that for Nico as well.
Yeah.
So it's a prong collar. Most of the dogs have it. So essentially what he's doing, like I'm not against using prong collars because the idea of using a prong collar is like it's a way to communicate with your dog with like how their moms will communicate with them. Like as a kid, they will like kind of like, you know how moms like kind of just tell them like stop. But you can use it horribly. You can use it to a point that you can choke a dog.
Yeah.
So what Dog Daddy's been doing is essentially who will try to like aggressively be an alpha male on dog to a point they will be choking, and that way they will get submissive. So they will listen. So they are like, he was able to calm an aggressive dog, but just the way he does it is not well. So what's been happening, he goes around giving free classes around nation and internationally. So Zach George has been really putting it out that the way he's doing it is not right. It's not okay. It's hurting the dogs, and he's asking all the protesters to like calmly protest his classes wherever he releases it. He's been getting all the dog communities on board, as ASPCA is one of them. A lot of like in UK and Canada. So all those communities have been come together and kind of stopped him practicing further, because all those communities, even the humane societies, they're all like, yes, we agree, Zach George, like the practices that Dog Daddy is doing is not correct. For some reason, I've been following both of them. So I've been following both sides. Like both have been posting on Instagram. Like Zach George has been going around it. And then Dog Daddy's been like, all right, I hear you, but like, I don't see you guys working with aggressive dogs. Like you guys don't work with aggressive dogs. So like the way I do it, like at least I'm working with them and doing, it's like, I see it, but at the same time, because the practice with positive reinforcement is like, it works long term, but it takes really long time. Whereas the negative reinforcement, the way he using it is like, it may work right away, but it may not stay. Like if the owner's not taking over and continuing like positive reinforcement, some kind of training, that is gonna go away. So I don't know if the way Dog Daddy helps with the dogs, if those dogs that he helps who are aggressive in humane society, if they ever do get adopted, if they are ever like, we never see that part. So what Zach George is saying, like, that's not really a true. It is like he is suffocating them. Like dogs are just scared. Like they do assimilate, but like it's not really a long term.
Because they will slip back into
it because you're not really putting a training of boundaries around it. And Dog Daddy is saying like, no, I do train the owners as well to help them keep that boundary around them. I don't know, but it's been interesting listening to it, like, because Zach George is somebody who's really, really big. I've used his techniques for Nico, and it helped quite a bit. And he does foster dogs, and he does it free because he's trying to like teach everybody, because he's a lot of sponsorships. He's a big channel. Dog Daddy is big too. He has 1 million subscribers. Both of them have 1 million subscribers. Dog Daddy always wearing like Gucci tracksuit and going around. Like he has 6 big dogs that he will like have them sit in a like New York busy time, and they will sit, they won't move. Like they're really well trained. So I'm not saying that what he's doing is completely awful, but he is self-trained apparently. So not all of his practices are good. So I'm curious to see how this goes, because even though there's dog communities out there who's saying that his practices are not right, there are people still need help. The people who have aggressive dogs who need help, because they're not aggressive because, they've been trained that way. They're just scared. They've been going from foster to foster, maybe been in foster for a really long time. They don't understand. So it's interesting to see somebody who is working with those dogs, trying to get them assimilated in the society. If it's long term, I don't know. But this has been like, it's been my news feed from like last month. Again, you wouldn't know that unless you have dogs, because I've been following both of them. I wasn't really paying close attention to Dog Daddy. I just sounded cool. I was like, oh, you're going around like helping, and I'm like looking more closely. Like, yeah, I guess the way you're helping is probably not right. I think the videos are longer on YouTube. I never watched his longer video on YouTube. The short-term videos are not, it's fine. It's like, you take a dog, like, yeah, he's fine now. You took a muzzle off, and now he's walking around fine. Like, you don't need a muzzle. That dog is fine. But it's just, I'm curious to know if any of you guys have ever followed any of those creators and what your stance is. Like, I'm not against prong collars. I use prong collar for Nico as a way of communication, but I never like force it, pull it too hard. It's mostly just to like give her like a little bit gentle pull, but like, here, listen to me. Because when she's at squirrel, she doesn't listen to anybody but the squirrel. But if I give her gentle pull, like, no, leave it, she will listen to it, and she will leave it. And it's been working really well. Again, I didn't like really use that in the beginning. Like I did get a trainer, like she wouldn't listen to the trainers because she's really shy. I tried training myself, and I did get to a prong collar, but I still didn't use it because at that point I really thought that she needed to know who I was and I needed to know who she was before she would listen to my communication. And it's like literally last 6 months I've been using prong collar like every day. And I barely have to use it. Like she pulls less, like I walk fast too, she pulls less, and like she will listen to me when we are walking away from squirrels, so like that's good. Like I'm not against using prong collars, but I guess you can use it to the point like you could like stop some like dogs breathing to the point like Sir Green of Park, a neighbor had a German Shepherd who he left in protect mode for too long and it died from not being given the relax command. Yeah, that's horrible. Like if you're training dogs, like dogs will listen to you, and then don't abuse it to that point where like you don't give them a relaxed command. It's sad. It's just sad to see how many dogs out there. Like you do need to train your dogs. Like you need to train them for sure. Positive reinforcement works. It definitely works. But again, I think every dog is different. Nico wouldn't work like outside. I can give her chicken, I can give her anything but peanut butter. Peanut butter works outside. That's how I trained her for a really long time, and then I used a prong collar because I can't really be giving her so much peanut butter every day. Like she does gets it, but that was like for a while, like extensively. She'd been doing better, but I don't so we'll see how this go. Like Dog Daddy is still trying. He was in UK, but he was denied admission because of all of this. And then he's saying like, oh no, I wasn't denied admission, I like decided not to do that. Actually not UK, it was Italy. It was UK too, was bad, and then Italy, and he was left from the airport. I don't know who's telling the truth, but Zach George was able to get like Humane Society from Italy and the community dog communities in Italy to issue some kind of letter that his practices we do not align with. So he stopped publicizing where he's hosting his places. So Zach is like, anybody who's following his, please let me know so I can tell the protesters that's where you go for silent community, like silent protesting. So there's quite a bit happening. I don't know if Dog Daddy will stop, but we'll see how that goes. Canada, he was stopped, and now he's back in Florida. I'm following him where he is. So like I'm just like silently observing from the back. I was like, what's happening? But it's been going on for like quite a bit.
That's wild. That's so funny because like that I had no idea when you mentioned like,
Dog Daddy.
I was like, I have no fucking idea.
I have to show you who Dog Daddy is.
But it sounds like he's, I mean, I would be mad because that's definitely like getting in his pockets.
Oh
that's
yeah,
probably his like main income.
Yeah.
But
quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that he's also upset with the way it's tainting his reputation.
It is. He is pretty upset.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, people are not upset that he's using a collar. People are upset on how he's using a collar. He's essentially like, you know, he will like if dog's getting bite, he like essentially pull some, where he's like on his back legs and stuff to a point where like, you know, you're hurting the dog until a dog will do what you're asking. Which I mean, the dog will do what you're asking, but the end of the day, it's like, will dog remember this for the next time when you're not around? I don't know. But a lot of times the dogs that he is working, they have muzzles on, they're really aggressive. So he's able to like work with them to a point where he can take the muzzle off and then the dogs are listening. So I'm conflicted. I do see like how it is painful, but like,
I guess
I don't know.
I mean, if there's like an actual investigative reporting on this,
yeah, I'm curious to see that.
Interesting to get the perspective of people working at those shelters where dogs were rehomed.
Yeah,
and see if that was actual success story or if it was just like ham-fisted for the camera and the dog was actually euthanized.
Yeah,
I think
that would be good to know.
You know, shush this whole thing out.
Exactly.
And either Zach is right or Dog Daddy is right.
Yeah. I think, one thing that Dog Daddy keeps saying is like, what Zach is essentially saying, like, what you're doing is not really a good practice or ethics. Like, as a trainers won't use those kind of enforcement. They will try to do positive reinforcement with semi-negative, but mostly with positive to where that it can sustain for longer.
Yeah.
But I think what Dog Daddy is saying is like, I hear, Zach, what you're saying, but like, can you guys give me evidence of where you guys work with aggressive dogs? Like, how you guys work with aggressive dogs. Like, do you guys work with aggressive dogs? And so far, nothing has come from it. So it is weird. It's like again, like, we need to done more. It was like
a weird industry to have such beef over.
Such a beef over, like, but I mean, if you care for dogs, but I guess like that's what both of them, their livelihood is training dogs. So I think it's more so like there is no certification. What Zach George is also trying to say is like there is no certification in dog training, and there should be. There should be a certificate to be given to dogs, like to trainers, and there should be. I think, yeah, there is no standard practice. There is no certification as long as you know how to do it. So I've gone to like multiple dog trainers when I was taking Nico, because like she wouldn't do anything because she would be so shy. So every time I took her, like weeks on end, they're like, the only thing we have done is literally for her to come say hi to me. So it's like the best way is to do in-home training. So
how long has this been going on?
This been going on for a few weeks now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a month now.
When do you think you'll get tired of it?
Oh, I'm still curious. I don't know. I will listen to another week or two. It comes about. I didn't realize it like started getting really big. I guess it was happening slowly but surely. And then it started happening big. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm following both of the accounts. And I thought both of the accounts were fine. So I started looking at it. I was like, I thought Dog Daddy was fine. So like Zach will go live. And I was listening to him live a lot of time because people will be commenting and he will like go explain it. So I don't know when I will get tired of it. I'm really curious, but I do agree with Zach. Like there needs to be some kind of standard and certification. Now that so many people have dogs, it's really easy to abuse dogs. Which I didn't know. Like I assume they do some kind of course, right? Like if they're working with practice, that they are testing them on something. But
I think that for that to happen, I think there like legislations and regulations around it will also require that animals have rights. Yeah. And I don't know if that is
a thing
in the code.
It's true too.
Like it's in our hearts, but is that legally binding? Like do animals have rights? I know that in Europe, I think that there is like there's regulations around like animal industries where like you get animal products or whether it's like for consumption, obviously that's heavily regulated, but then you also have like males where like people make animals for animal testing or for like for leather or for like skin
like crocodile skin, fur.
Yeah, so I'm personally against all of those things. Yeah. But to each their own. I don't know.
I think they can do, instead of just like doing oral, they can just say like, if you are a professional dog trainer, there needs to be some kind of certificate around it. Some kind of classes. I'm pretty sure as a capitalist, we will be happy to get money from all the people to give them a certificate. So I think if there is some kind of certificate, just like they can do it. But
I would, if it's not true, if it's not like happening yet, I do think there might be some kind of a loophole around animals having rights. And if that were to happen, it would affect some industries that are already making money and having a lobby in Congress.
Oh, I bet.
Speculation, but it's usually how things are.
It is. And world famous, Nico, like she's being socialized now. I've been trying to bring her to studio, but when I first got her, she was scared of all newness. She's getting better now. She's not there yet, but she is getting better. But it's taking a long time. It takes a long time. Training dogs, it takes really long time. And I think people don't realize that. And a lot of the training is to train the owners, then the dogs themselves. So that's where it comes down to do it. But kennel clubs don't offer certification. I don't think so. If there is, it's not, I guess, world. I don't know.
I guess they all have their own trainings, but they aren't like certification
for the trainers.
The state, right?
Yeah.
So I would assume that you get like certified privately by the by your employer.
And like dogs get certification, like the dogs can be good citizen certificates or like, service dog, those certificates that you kind of show when you're taking them on airplane. But I don't know if the trainers have certification.
I feel like there has to be, like, especially for like police dogs.
Oh yeah, like there's canine,
Yeah.
but dog is trained, right? Like your dog will be canine certificate by a person, but
That has to be certified too.
but the person has done it before, so they're like professional.
How do they learn?
They take classes and then eventually
So they-
teach them. But like those classes don't have like that class should have a certification to
Yeah.
kind of say like this is standard, this is how you train them.
So
And then there's always more literature around it that keeping up to date.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
this is how you use it, because like there are a lot of devices like electrical collars and all that stuff. Like I'm not saying they're all bad, but they need to be used in a certain way that not everybody uses it in a certain way.
What do you think about the electrical fence?
I'm not against it. I know I won't ever use it for Nico. The only reason because like when she runs after something, she forgets what it is. Like she's jumped from a second floor window. Like she doesn't care where she's jumping. So I'm afraid that once she passes that, she'll be too scared to come back. But I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It gives you vibration. So when you get close to the thing, like it will give you vibration to a dog that you're getting close to it. So it won't shock you unless like you are really close to it. But like the dogs get trained that like, hey, you're coming close to the fence and then you kind of stop.
Yeah.
That's what my understanding is.
I guess, yeah, if there's the training associated with it, that makes sense. But
Oh yeah, they're trained.
I feel like sometimes people just put the electric fence up because they don't want their pristine green lawn to be covered by by an actual visible fence.
No.
And I don't know, it's like just more vanity. And I feel like if dogs don't see like there's a barrier, like don't go across it, it's like if the dogs actually ends up like passing and getting shocked, I think that's like not very not something you should be doing to animals.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how often that happens, that if dogs do pass it, but they will train you. So like the whole part of getting invisible fence is like they will train your dog to understand where it's going, and they have to have a collar. The only thing is like I would get invisible fence for my front yard, because for the front yard in Indiana, you can't have more than 4 foot long fence. And 4 foot
Really?
fence in front of your yard, you can't. So
That's regulation?
that's a city code. So, but if you want to have like taller than 4 fence, you have to submit a variance, which I looked into because Nico can jump 6 foot fence. So 4 foot fence is nothing. That'd be the only reason. Like if I'm getting 4 foot fence, I might as well get invisible fence, because invisible fence is cheaper and may stop. But again, it's not gonna stop her. So that's a moot point for her. But I know a lot of dogs like in my parents' community who got trained by it because they have larger front yard than the backyard.
It's like this one.
4 feet is this long.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why you see the front fence to be like this long. They can't be.
I had no idea that's like
Oh,
law.
I had
That
to look
is
into
the
it
dumbest thing.
because my front yard is much larger than the back. So I wanted to do all around. I was like, this
Yes,
will be
you have a lot of
amazing.
land in front of your
Exactly.
house.
I couldn't because of the stupid city code. And I'm not going to go through a variance to get this appealed and then spend more money to put the fence, of my money to put the fence, and then get approved by city. I'm also at the point where like maybe I should have put the fence and then ask for forgiveness. My dad was like, maybe they will ask you to take it off. I was like, that would be awful if they asked me to like take it down. But I guess they could ask me to take it down. I don't know. So there's a whole thing. So I'm not against the invisible fence, but they do teach the dogs, but it's up to the dog owners to teach them further. But yeah. That was my whole topic that I've been like following these dog accounts. Again, you will.
Well,
Yeah.
I just hope that all the dogs are. I truly hope that Dog Daddy is right and actually rehoming dogs well, and like in a sustainable way where they don't kind of fall back into being bad boys.
And not just like for the I didn't even think about that. I again just taking their word
I think
for
that's
it.
the most important part, right?
Exactly.
We just want the dogs to be rehomed and not euthanized. That's the main goal. So.
Exactly, if that's what you're doing. But yeah. All right. So I think this is where we're going to end it. So thank you so much for joining, guys. We'll be back next week. We'll be back tomorrow with One Piece with a new arc. Yes. New arc. We will know who Garp is, hopefully, finally. But yeah, guys, we're gonna raid Noella dos Sanjos.
The Sanjos.
Sanjos. Let them know the Normies send their regard, and we love you guys. Have an amazing Wednesday, amazing week. Weekend is here soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Get ready.
Sorry, you should have just
It's about
you should have just said it when Marketa said bye. I don't know. I just still kept talking. New arc. Let's go. There's a new arc. Oh, you okay? Oh my god. I went on Twitch. Somebody was recommended who was reading Naruto.